Hi guys, a Mosin Nagant. This one is a finished capture and it's got the SA there which signifies the Finnish army, and it's 1944. Now this one came out of a barn. The stock is oil and cosmoline soaked, and it's got rust everywhere on it. All the way through. It is an import by Century Arms. It's a 9130 according to the importer. Anyway, clean it up, get the oil out of the stock, cook the metalwork off, and get rid of all the rust on it. Take it apart. Bolt comes out by pulling the trigger. Pull the bolt out. Take the bolt apart. Pull back on the striker and release that, and you can pull the bolt off the bolt head. Then the bolt head, you swing that around and you get that out. To get the firing pin out, pull back on that and turn this. Well, I'm getting it to go. Got it out, just push down on it while I'm push down on the firing pin. Rotate the cocking handle full of cosmoline. Next we get the barrel bands off. Start with the cleaning rod. Barrel bands, you got to depress that barrel band catch while you knock the barrel band that way. Got it to climb onto the catch. Polymer tip punch, and one more barrel band up front. Same drill. It's a bit easier. Top wood comes off. Really thin piece of wood. Now we can get the action out of the wood. We've got two screws. One there, one there. Well, that screw's all mangled up. We'll clean it up. Bottom metal should come out. There's the bottom metal, as dirty as can be, full of cosmoline. So I think this is a mill, well, it is a mill SERP that was bought and just wiped down and then put up in a barn, and not really properly cleaned, not taken out of the wood, and maybe that saved it or helped it. A little brass plate nailed to the bottom of the receiver, and 3 shims at the on the back screw, full of cosmoline. Okay, got the butt plate off. No real rust under it. Rust is on the outside. These barrel band catches, they just go on a pin through the stock there. Take a small punch, you can just drive them out. They just come out. They just friction fit, and the barrel band holds them in. They hold the barrel band in, and the barrel band holds them in. Another one up front, same thing. And then these screw on if you want to get them out. I'm going to leave them in. They got two little screws that hold them in. Nose cap of the stock has got a small little screw there to get that off. Rear sight's got a pin to knock out. There's a pin. And then it's got a spring underneath it. The rear sight, you depress, pull it out the back, and then you got your two pushes. They fit in like that, just like similar to a Mauser rear sight. You got a pin on the trigger to knock out, and then the spring holds the trigger, and you got to take them off together. You can't get the spring out without taking the trigger off, and you can't get the trigger off without taking the spring off. Let you ride in like that. And this is the cartridge guide as well as the ejector, so that's the guide there, and the ejector sits on the top of it, held in by a single screw. The spring, it's in on a dovetail there, and you got to drive it forward. Get it off the ejector. So it dovetails into that slot. And then there's the ejector. And that's as far as we're going to go on this. I'm going to leave the front sight on. It is staked. So it's got a 0 line and then it's been staked there. So I'm just going to let it be. I'm going to cork and card it in place. To get the magazine box apart, you undo that little button at the bottom. Opens up to there. Then you got to depress the mag follower and then just find the spot where it comes out of the off that pin over there. So when you got the mag follower, kind of closes up that gap. Okay, getting the Mosin back together after the cook. We start off with a bolt, the firing pin and the spring, and got that through there. Now we got to push down on the firing pin. Get the bolt head onto the bolt guide. You got that slot and that tab, so just ride those two out on like that. And now because we got that lined up, that square is lined up for us over there, so we're going to get that in. You got to line that up at the back there, get that to there, and that's got to go into, bolt head's got to go into that slot all at once like that. And then you got to recock the bolt. Assembled. Okay, magazine. Get the mag follower and the floor plate back. Squeeze the follower, get it onto that pin over there. Like that. Now we can let go. And it's captured. Click it in. We've got the barrel band clips. There's two different ones. They're two different lengths. So the long one goes up front, and the shorter one sits in there in the middle, and you just kind of push it through the hole, and you can tap it in with a hammer or a punch. Okay, last up on the stock is the nose cap. It's got a little screw. Just screws into the other end like that. Onto the rifle, the rear barrel band. Slide that over the sight and get it through the front band so that the two are, the smaller ones up front and the bigger ones in the rear. Okay, and then the trigger. Got the trigger, its pin, the trigger spring and sear, and the screw. So these two go in as a unit, like that. And then your screw. Okay, I don't tighten up the spring all the way, so it allows easy alignment of the pin. And get the pin through. Now we crank down on that, puts tension on the spring, and there's the trigger. Next is the rear sight. Okay, so the rear sight has got the two little pushers, or the two little locks that lock up on the slider. And what it is, it's just got a recess for a spring and a recess for a spring. So the one spring goes there, and the same on the other side, and then those two just kind of slot together like that, and then when you leave it, that and that interacts on those notches. So now you got to put this into the slider. That, and then you just work it into the sight, and it clicks into those notches. Still have a spring, so that slides in. It slides into the sight base over there, and then so it can't lift up at the end. So you got to depress that spring with the sight to get that pin in, and it is very tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the vise. I'll just put a dowel rod over there, put it in a vise to compress it so I can get that in. There you go, got it in. Next up we got the cartridge guide and ejector, and its spring and the interrupter. So it's on a dovetail. It's got a screw there, but it's on a dovetail right there. So you just got to kind of tap it into the dovetail and get it to line up. The dovetail takes all this leverage force. The screw just stops it from moving back out, and we got to get that in. So that is the ejector, so that has to face forward because that's where the empty case will run up against and get kicked out of the gun. So to get that in, you just lift this up, slide it in there. It's got a little square hole where it interacts. Okay. Took some finagling to get it in there. You got the square little, like a rectangular hole there, and a square tab on the ejector, and it's got to just slot in there. And it was just fighting me for some unknown reason. Well, this rifle had these shims on the back screw and another shim over there, so I'm going to put them back. I'm not sure why it needed them, but I'm going to assume that there was a good reason to put them in. I'm just putting that screw in there to keep those shims from falling out. Bottom metal. And the front screw goes in from the bottom. Okay, now I got the barrel bands up front, and the barrel bands go on with the open section at the bottom. So there's a section where the barrel bands joint that goes to the bottom of the rifle. When we slide the first one on, got to get the top wood on. The top wood sits over there. Now we can get the first barrel band on. Got it wrong. And you just slide it in and it will click over on that spring catch, and that step on the front wood which will stop the wood from going forward. And now the front one, same thing. Snug up these screws. And then the ramrod comes in through the barrel bands and screws into the there's a little V block on the inside of the stock where it screws into. There you go, guys, all done. So we turned that crusty, rusty barn find into something respectable. So all the rust that was on the front, the pitting's still there. All the rust is gone. I can actually read the import marks now. On the cleaning rod, all of that's gone. This nose cap was completely rusted, and it had rust all over. I got all that rust out, and that tacky stock, and just rubbed it down with some solvent, and then re-oiled it with some Danish oil. And I think it looks good. I hope you found that interesting and that it helped somebody out there. Stay safe. We talk again. Cheers.